store. Is it being recorded so you can see us?
I think so. I just pressed record.
It
I,
would be.
I'm assuming, it
Is it
is.
proper?
So Zoom, I used to use Zoom quite a bit, and it
Yeah.
records both audio and video and that kind of stuff. So yes, it'll be recording the video as well.
So, Sammy, just go out to
I've
that door.
blurred my I've blurred my background. I did without meaning to. Does that matter?
Right?
No, that's
Fine.
quite good. Maybe I should do the same actually.
I don't know how I've done it though, so I'd
Um,
like to
Go to the
explain.
more options.
Oh no, here we go. Yeah,
Oh, that looks a bit weird, doesn't it?
yeah. I'm going to unblur
Go
mine.
without.
Nah.
I quite like your stuff in the background, fellas. Keeps us real. It's keeping us real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Sammy, to say that again. So you were saying about because my
No,
throwback was
no, no.
like
What
they're
I was saying.
genuinely about early bird catching the worm. The days when
Yeah,
I am
no.
up,
What I
out,
was.
I feel like a million. I feel like I'm ahead. I'm ahead for the
Yeah,
day.
yeah. And that's like I was. Yeah, that's Johnny. I got a mate of ours, Burnsy, is he's just landed in Sweden. And like he's come here for the weekend. I'm going to meet him in the city later, and he just texts and goes, "Fuck me, it's cold."
Yeah.
But
I can do it. Do it, Sammy. Do it. You do 30 seconds or so.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
like,
Keep your hat on.
so
What
do
do I
it.
look like?
Who
yeah,
you are, where you are, it's super interesting. We're in three very disparate locations. Let's just have a play,
yeah,
well, let's all do 30 or 45 seconds on who we are, where we are, and then we'll bring it. This will be fun. Let's have a crack.
yeah.
Do it, man.
So I'm yeah. So yeah. Obviously, I'm Sammy, and I actually live in Stockholm. I've been living in Sweden now for this is my 14th year, and we're stuck in the middle of winter right now, and it's been sort of knee deep of snow for the last month or so, and temperatures sort of play around. It's you sort of redefine what's cold, like you look in the morning and it's 1 or 2 degrees, and like you say to the kids, oh, it's quite warm today. I'm not sure when my perspective changed on what that, because if it's -1 and this much snow in the UK, it's Armageddon for about a month. So but like yeah, I think like the biggest thing for me is like I was saying about is the daylight, is that so from like sort of mid-October, November onwards, for about 2 or 3 months, it's yeah, not it's not light till 9, and it's dark by 2:30, 3 o'clock. And the cold I can deal with. Winter's a bit long, but it's like the darkness. And but now from about now, certainly in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, then that will really shift, and the days get longer quite quicker. And even though, of course, there's still only 24 hours in the day, just having that extended daylight both in the morning and in the evening is just it's pretty magical, really. And a bit what you were saying, Benj, I think like when you get up in the morning and it's daylight and it's 5:30 or it's 6 in the morning, you just get a bit of stuff done, no noise coming in, maybe get yourself out and have a wander. It's just yeah, it's you just get ahead for the day, and I love it. And but I think I was saying, Bernsey, about how I've been looking to do some like to make some videos like 4 hour sort of collaboration, our sort of 7 day kickoff, and like the system is all there and stuff. But I've been sort of waiting a little bit. Like I mean, one, it's this much snow to try to, so you have to sort of dig a hole to do it. Whereas now it's kind of it's a bit less snow. And like I said to Benj, like, do I need to wait for the snow to go before we record these videos? He's like, no, like it's that's where you live, that's where you are, that's like ultimately like you can't as a person living in Sweden, you can't sit around and wait for 4 months for the weather to clear. It's either just get on with it, or and I guess that's kind of yeah, so it might be a quite cool for like for people in Oz who we doing stuff on the beach thinking who's this English bloke in -5 in a hat. But yeah, it's that's life, right, I guess, and we have to just get on with it.
I love it. It's awesome, and we'll retrofit this as we go through, and I'll do a little bit. I'm Bernsey. I'm the founder and CEO of the Man Walk. I'm here in Kiama, Australia, and I'm loving being here with Ben and Sammy. Ben, who I met at summer camp back in the '90s in Massachusetts, America, and his brother Sam, who I haven't met as well. But this collaboration that we're putting out to our man walk community and back in the game community, it's so cool that we're in such different parts of the world. Like I'm here, it's 9 o'clock at night in Australia, and it's still about 30 degrees Celsius. Like I'm really looking forward to trialing this program to roll out. I'm going to go down with the Huskerson guys half an hour south of here, and go through a mobility program with them, like Samuel mobility program in the next couple of weeks. And it's 30 odd degrees. We'll be in singlets and on the beach. And we might be doing a mobility program that you're filming in the snow in Sweden. Like that's pretty bloody cool. So yeah, the this might come out, but might have finished there. But I love that. Benny, you have a crack.
No, that is good. That is good. So yeah, I'm Ben Rosser, and I am the co-founder of Back in the Game, and that's my brother. You can see on the screen over there. As Bernsey said, he and I met in 1997, mate. Can you believe that? On a summer camp in Massachusetts, and here we are, how many years that later is, having a conversation. And actually, where this was born out of me seeing Bernsey doing great work on the Man Walk on LinkedIn, and just reaching out and saying, mate, this looks brilliant. Let's talk about it, because there's something me and Sammy are working on, which is called Back in the Game. And essentially our target audiences, our overall sort of proposition, and frankly, what we're trying to do to help ourselves and like-minded men in our age group and bracket and all of those things are remarkably similar, and yet far enough apart that they complement each other. So yeah, Bernsey, you and I had a chat on LinkedIn, and we said, right, let's try and do something together. So here we are. So yeah, really good to be talking, boys.
Too good.
Should we then talk a little bit, Bernsey? Do you want to do a little bit about the Man Walk, and then Sammy, maybe you do a bit about what we're about, audiences, and I suppose objective, and the brand, and I think the stuff is also like the emotional bit, like why we're doing it,
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So, a bit about the Man Walk from me. The Man Walk started in late 2018. I was in some dysfunctional habits myself, really busy, dad, physio, mentoring stuff, rugby coach, and just wasn't in a good routine myself. So my lovely wife, Beck, said, how about you get up in the morning, get to bed a bit earlier, get up in the morning and go for a walk and, start the day on the right foot. So Beck's essentially always correct. So I did that and found immediate benefit in that morning walk with the sunrise around Kiama Harbour. After a few months, some of my bullfed rugby mates from Kiama heard what I was doing and crashed my walk. Went from me to 12, 16 of us, and the Man Walk was born. We came up with the logo and the slogan, Walk, Talk, Support, in about 25 seconds one day, because us blokes like being a part of a team, don't we? We like being a part of something. And that was it. A mate moved to Wollongong, half an hour away, and said, can I start one there? Another bloke saw us on Facebook, so we did some Facebook posts around it and started one up on the Queensland border. We then had a social media post go to 1.3 million people overnight, and were inundated with requests on the national news and the morning shows and that kind of thing. And to be honest, been chasing our tail since then, but we're doing a bloody good job of it. We've got 99 Man Walks all around the world now, 93 in Australia, 5 in New Zealand, 1 in Japan, and 1 in the UK. So, it's been an inadvertent success to get blokes together for a free weekly walk and talk to, as our mission says, connecting men, strengthening communities, and our vision is combating isolation and loneliness. And what we're doing now with the Man Walking Back in the Game is adding an extra element of that connection with some more exercise to give blokes an opportunity to move a bit better, feel a bit better, get our old joints and muscles moving a bit more, and spread that international reach. So yeah, I'm pumped to be doing stuff with you, Sam, and you, Ben, and it's a huge part of the Man Walk's growth strategy to connect with like-minded people and organisations as we move forward.
Nice, mate. Nice.
Very nice.
Sammy, do you want to do can I just say, I love the fact that you've got your crutches in the background. That's amazing. No, keep them there. I quite like it. It's all right. It's live, man.
I've got an Irish shillelagh. Do you want me to send this over to you? Okay. But actually, we can't do that because you nasty English made the Irish get rid of their big sticks and made them only 30 or 40 centimeters. So
Don't like us.
you
They
guys,
really don't like us. Understandably so, I might add.
anyway,
Yeah, Sammy, a bit of, like, who we are, where we came from.
Yeah.
Actually,
So
Sammy, you haven't introduced yourself either, so you should probably do that. We can
yeah,
cut it all right.
yeah. So my name is Sam. I'm obviously no, I'll start again. So my name is Sam Rosser. I'm the co-founder of Back in the Game with my brother. Obviously Benny lives in the UK. I live in Sweden. Have been here since 2011. I have a Swedish wife. We came over here for a year or two to see how it goes. And 14 years later and two kids, here I still am. Um, and yeah, we've been working with Back in the Game probably since around about 2014. It actually was born out of tragedy, to be honest. My best friend unexpectedly passed away in 2013, aged just 37, from a very rare form of lung cancer. And it was actually at Dave's funeral that he was a friend from university. We had a group of about 9 or 10 of us who had stayed pretty close. We graduated in '96, so we'd stayed pretty close, but probably didn't see each other as much as we would have liked. And of course, logistics always play a role in that. But at the funeral, we all sat around and had a chat, and of course, it was a very emotional day. And I'd seen this thing called Tough Mudder, which was a sort of new concept coming out of the US, and it was all this sort of marketing. This is the hardest thing you'll ever do and stuff. And I remember we woke up the next morning after the funeral and said, I think a few of us signed up for Tough Mudder last night, boys. Obviously it's slightly indulged, but lo and behold, we ended up doing this Tough Mudder about a year later. Now I've worked in the fitness industry my whole life as a coach and a personal trainer, as a strength conditioning coach. So I basically took on the role of sort of you're right there. We're recording stuff, Daniela.
perfect. I
Yeah.
like that. That's how it's supposed to be.
Cut. No. Take two.
Can
We start.
you close the door,
Start.
Dan?
Start from the Start from like so we took on Tough Mudder or something like that, and you were about to be the coach.
Yeah. So we took on Tough Mudder, and yes, I've worked as within the fitness industry as a PT and as a S&C coach for my whole career. So I took on the role, I guess, of as sort of coach slash group leader. I think I've always been one of those people who I think we all play our roles in our friendship groups, and I've been always the one who sort of maybe slightly annoyingly and sort of gets people to do stuff. But so we did this thing, and yeah, so we basically over the sort of next 9 or 10 months, we had an online training group. I think some guys did more than others, but by the time we got to the start line, there was some pretty serious transformations. I mean, Benny did the event with us as well. I think one guy had lost 3 stone, one guy had lost 2 stone. I remember my sister had seen, it was just around my 40th birthday. My sister had seen all my mates, and I remember her saying, what the hell's happened to your mates? They all look younger and fitter, and ultimately they weren't any younger, but they certainly were sort of fitter and stronger. And we got across the line, and of course, like we raised a bunch of money for the Royal Marsden where Dave was treated. But that evening we went out and had a couple of beers and sort of sat around and talked about it. And there was very much this emotion of like what's next? And I think even that night it was like, well, we're doing this again next year for sure. And it's at the time it was still like pretty raw that everything had happened with Dave, and therefore it was just quite an emotional time. But sort of if almost fast forward another year, and we did another year, same sort of thing happened. I think we got a few more guys come along and did it with us, so this group grew from 8 or 9 to maybe 14 or 15. Just going back a step, in terms of the time and the connection between that group of friends, that bond it became even closer off the back of both the event with Dave, but also the fact that we'd reconnected through like the Tough Mudder. And I think I remember saying to Benji after the second time we'd done Tough Mudder, I was like you put your commercial hat on slightly, and I said, "There's something in this. There's something in this." And again, like I think when you work in the fitness industry, I've obviously worked with hundreds and hundreds of other coaches, and it's very much PT is very much a young man's game, I think, or a young person's game. And if you're gonna have longevity in the business, you have to find something else. And I think the more connected you can be with that, the better. And we sort of discovered that what were we doing? We were getting groups of people together, some who knew each other, some who didn't, some who maybe had in the past. They were connecting uh, in the name of better health. Not everything revolved around meeting in the pub and stuff. And of course, there was a big social element to it. And we sort of Benji and I said to each other, what yeah, like there's something in this, and over the course of time, that's evolved into more events. We now have regular training groups. There's 2 or 3 groups that run in the UK. I've got 3 or 4 here that run in Sweden, and we still have events. We're going to do Tough Mudder again this year. We've done some other things as well, and what I've learned is, of course, like the workouts and the strength work we do and like the mobility work we do is very important. But ultimately, I feel like, particularly with the groups, the guys who get together, um, I would say that if you ask them all honestly, what's the main reason you come? It's having that weekly point of contact. And of course, it's that they get the physical benefits of that. But I mean, I drive home, even though I'm the coach, I drive home from my sessions and feel that's a big part of my week as well. Just being involved in, I think, and in Sweden as well. One of my groups in particularly is there's a lot of expats who come to that, so we're all in similar situations in terms of Swedish partners, and like you're sort of in this city, and we've all been here for different lengths of time. We had a session last year. There was 14 guys, and we had 13 different nationalities. And I think that's really telling. Is that ultimately, even though, of course, like Aussies, Brits, Kiwis, Swedes, Italians, whatever, we all have different things, different cultures. But actually, even though there's sort of nuances to it, we all enjoy that connection, that camaraderie, and it's great. I mean, as I say, like we go out for dinner every now and again, and you're sitting around with a German, an Italian, and a Spanish guy, and a Swede, and a Brit, it's awesome. So that's where we're at right now.
I'll jump onto a little bit just around positioning the brand, because I know Burns, you talked nicely about so I'll do a bit on that because it might bring that together.
Yeah.
How do I do this? So as Sammy just talked about, it was born out of back in the game, was born out of, as I said, a bit of a tragedy, but turned into something that was becoming increasingly more important. I think what I learned out of that day and since then is that we actually realised, frankly, we were getting older, and actually, Dave, who Sammy mentioned, was one of the fittest guys I've ever met. He was a triathlete. He could ski. He was like, and didn't smoke. And bang, he tragically died of cancer. And it made us all think, wow, like if that could happen to him, that could happen to any of us. We are all vulnerable, actually. So what can we do? What's the most we can do to look after ourselves? But we also then, we're there also older, we've got families. How do we look after ourselves? But how do we also make sure we're there to look after our families? And that has been really important part of what Back in the Game is about. We are not about, yes, it's about health and fitness, but it's not six packs and guns and all this stuff. It's about being healthy for us and our families. And, as I said, Sam's a trainer. I work in marketing services. So I suppose my marketing business hat came on, and it was about that. What's that emotional connection? What is it that resonates? And we talk about 4 things within the brand. We talk about health, movement, progression, and camaraderie. And I think on those, like health is obviously the fundamental thought. Sammy, you always talk about keep moving. Mobility is a massive part of what we do around training. But the progression and camaraderie thing, progression, like, if we're all going to invest our time in something, let's get better at it, like whatever that is. And that is in your health is one of those things. And then the last one is the camaraderie, which, you know, Sammy talked about. The fact that we get together, friendships have literally been either reignited or new friendships made through this group. And Sammy and I talked about this. We're proud when last week a group up in Hertfordshire, which neither of us attend, it was a friend of ours' 50th, and they all went out for dinner. We weren't there. And it was great that they did that because they built that friendship. And increasingly, it's a massively important part of their lives. And we are, and not saying well done us, but we're proud of the fact that what we've created is that environment. And Sammy, as you always talk about, when we literally watch the idea come into play.
Yeah.
And then to sort of wrap all that up, back in the game, our tagline is "Fit for what matters," and that is a really important line because we are getting fit for something, and we want you to be fitter and healthier, but it's for what matters, and what matters is you, of course, but your family, your friends, and your future. And that line we feel has landed, and it's from, again, my marketing house, sort of differentiation. That is what we are about, and we're proud to sit and talk to people about that. And when we have those conversations, people are like, "Yeah, man, I get that." So yeah. Anyway, so bit of brand marketing for you there, guys.
I was just going to add a couple of things there, and that would be that. So in fact, Johnny, who's just the guy who's just landed in Stockholm, he's been part of that group. He's not actually being there now, but he was part of the originals of that group. And I don't know, Bernsey, but I would imagine that possibly when man walk groups initially get together, particularly if they are, that then probably the banter level is quite high. And I think, in terms of sort of playground banter, I don't mean that because it's the same back in the game. And Johnny said, so the first 3, 4, 5 months of that back in the game group in Hartford was very much, very sort of British lads having a bit of a laugh, bit of piss taking and stuff. Then he said to me about a year or so later, I remember he texted me, he goes, "You would not believe the conversation I've just walked in between Rodders, who is an unexplainable human, but between Rodders and Steve, they were literally talking about essentially mental health, like relationships, kids and stuff." He goes, "Honestly, Sammy, it's a shift change." And it's the familiarity, it's the fact that they've been doing that, those barriers have slowly broken down. And I know Brits and Aussies, I know we love to hate each other when it comes to sport, but we have always acknowledged that we're quite similar in terms of how we are. And I imagine that you would find similar things, that just guys are now have, like, when they do get together and they realize that actually, do you know what, we do have those vulnerabilities, that actually those conversations are really important. And I think that just one other point is that of course, like, there's lots of work to do with back in the game, and this new partnership with the Manwalk is a massive step in that right direction. But when I sort of envisaged what back in the game was, when I drive home from the groups or I go to the events, I almost couldn't be happier and couldn't be prouder, really, because I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what was in my head, or in our heads, me and Benj. Of course, how that goes in the future is really interesting, but I think that the ability for guys to spend consistent time with each other, and to take that shift away from it needing to be around social time, or sort of the socializing in the more traditional way, I think is a hugely positive thing.
Mm.
There you go.
It's great.
Cool.
I love it. I just I don't know, we're recording still, but I love how this conversation is so consistent with between both of our organizations. I wrote a couple of things down there as we're chatting, just that weekly point of contact, that you said, Sam. It's that, back in the game is that, the man walk is that. Mate, love that story about 14 guys coming to train of 13 different nationalities. That's amazing, absolutely amazing. And
it really is really cool.
Connection and camaraderie. And that's what it is. And at the Man Walk, we don't pretend we're solving the problems of the world. 95% of the stuff we talk about is absolute bullshit. We take the piss out of each other. We, say how easy is giving the Palms a flogging again in the Ashes, and
Get to
Maybe,
get
Not
that
long
in.
there.
yeah, get some players from other countries, bring in some other, imports as well, might help them out a little bit, something like that. But yeah, in all seriousness, it's yes, we're a men's physical and mental health organization, but you need to meet men where they are. And the Man Walk is a free weekly walk and talk for blokes. Yeah, we chew the fat, we take the piss, but every now and again there's a bit of gold, and
Yeah,
when you build that camaraderie and connection with other people and you feel safe in a group, that's when that gold comes out. So, back in the game, fit for what matters. The
yeah,
Man Walk, connecting men, strengthening communities. It's such a nice synergy. And I'm pumped about how we can move forward together and offer men around the world. And maybe they're not man walkers and maybe they haven't been a part of back in the game together. But offer blokes a chance to get together and have a joint form of camaraderie to do some stuff for their physical and mental health
yeah,
as a group. That's pretty bloody cool.
yeah. I agree, Burns. I think what I really love about your brand and your concept of it, I mean, I know that as a coach, and I know in terms of what we deliver, if I can get somebody through the door, then I know that 90% of guys will go, oh, okay, I can do this because they'll walk in, they'll see that they're not in there with Usain Bolt and whoever. They're there with, and oh, wait, he can do that and he can do that, and everything is tailored to make sure that it's a progressive thing. Yet, because it's physical training, whether that's in a gym or whether it's an outdoor session or whether it's because it's physical training, there are still those sort of what's the word, like those barriers still exist. People are intimidated, but they think however much you tell them, they think they are going to walk into this gym and be um like I the least yeah, sorry, the least fit guy there. I mean, how many times have you heard, oh, I'll start coming when I get a bit fitter? No. That's why you come. My point being is that the man will almost, like, from an obstacle perspective, it takes it even lower, doesn't it? It's like, I mean, you could argue that if you can't be asked to get out and have a walk, then like where do we go from there? And I love the fact that it's yeah. What, so you just meet up and walk and talk? Yeah, that's what we do. What else do I have to do? Nothing. Just rock up, literally turn up. And I think in terms of how maybe the man walk can progress into back in the game type thing as well, is, look, boys, the concept is the same. It's like, it's just a now, or it's still turn up, and ultimately, as they say, like, the best workout in the world is the one that you turn up for. And but I think having yeah, that opportunity just to turn up and have a walk is such a great step in the right direction for excuse the pun, in for so many guys, isn't it? And because it just opens up so many opportunities.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's all of those things. And I mean, yeah, but yeah, it's like, and the puns work okay.
Yeah,
Start the day on the right foot, take the first step,
yeah,
walking side by side, those kind of things. And we've got a big group in one of our Queensland groups gets 50 or 60 blokes 3 times a week. And
wow,
a couple of those blokes, they're a bit older, and one had a hip replacement the other week, and the other one had a bit of a cardiac event. And yeah, the other guys went off walking, and these blokes just sat on the bench and had a yarn for the 45 minutes while the other blokes walked because they, medically unsafe to even walk at the moment. So how good's that these blokes still get down there and have a sit and have a chat
yeah,
with their pacemaker and their hip replacement and this kind of thing, but they still value that connection and camaraderie so much that they're not going to miss the man walk, even though they're not walking, but they're part of the team. How good?
yeah. I agree, and I think it's twofold, isn't it? One, they don't want to miss out being there for themselves, but they also don't want to miss out being there for the guys as well. And again, like a bit like, I mean, Benny and I, we're not in the Hartford group in the UK, but we're in the WhatsApp group. And if a guy misses a session or two, yeah, there's always a little bit of, like, I mean, one or two guys will be like, but like there's always at least one or two people who'll be like, like make sure you're back next week, or like everything okay, or and it's like I would say at least one guy per week in my particularly my city session here in Stockholm, at least one guy per week will say, if it wasn't for the group, no way I was coming tonight. I was locked up. I was locked in the sofa. It was pissing down with snow. It was cold, whatever. But like, no, it's Tuesday night. I'm going. That's what I do.
How good.
Um,
How
it's
good.
just that accountability, isn't it? Is fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Benny, what else should we
Yeah,
record? Anything
I've
else?
just
Anything else?
I think we've done well, guys. Actually,
Hmm.
I mean, I've just, as I said, I don't want to emphasize like bang on about the scripts, but we've talked about like the brands, where they came from, the origination story, and we've talked about how we think they complement each other. We've talked about the importance of like what we do, and it's not just out and out. We're not just trying, as I say, guns and whatever. And ultimately we're talking about connection, aren't we? Like we've done a nice job about camaraderie, connection, and the importance of it, and the barrier to entry, or the real low barrier to entry. I wonder whether there's anything more we should just say about like literally what we're going to do, as in like,
Yeah.
so back in the game is going to be rolled out as a offer. I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe Burnsy, you just talk about this is what it practically means, that it's going to be available to man walkers, and we'll share. I don't know, we'll share what that is, or there'll be a trial. Whether we go into like, oh, as a trial, I don't necessarily get into trial and price points, but do we? I think maybe just talk a bit about how that manifests is that there will, back in the game, will become available to man walkers in Australia to take up a sort of additional complementary product, something like that.
And then
Yeah.
we
Is that all
should
right?
maybe, and then we could also maybe just then have a minute on what it would involve from our end in terms of like, yeah, like
Yeah,
sort of via the sessions and
yeah. I've got to leave in 10 minutes, by the way, guys, just to let you know.
Perfect. That's good.
Not,
Good.
yeah.
We've banged on enough time then. All right, let's have a crack at this. So as part of our collaboration between the Man Walk and Back in the Game, in February, we'll be launching an opportunity for our Man Walkers and Man Walk community to test it out. So to really get in and see these programs that Sam's putting together and Ben's sort of modeling through, so we can have a crack at it, get ourselves moving, get some mobility, get some gentle strength. Yes, we've tailored it to us man walkers who aren't 2025 anymore. We're more in that middle age. So I'm really excited that from February this year, we're going to be offering our man walk community a chance to be a part of Back in the Game and access these exercise programs, mobility programs, and start to use their body a bit more. Sort of did it two bits then, and I know we'll sort of cut this up. We're only after a little 10, 20
Okay.
seconds and those kind of things too. So I'll do one more sort of weird bit too and see how that lands too. So I'm really excited that from February this year, sorry, I'm really excited that from February this year, formally aligning ourselves and partnering with Back in the Game to offer our man walkers and our man walk community the chance to jump on and try some of these programs. Get your body moving, get yourself mobile, connect with blokes overseas, get some really professional, high level and quality advice and instruction around how to use our bodies well and stay fit and mobile.
yeah,
Cool, man.
that's good. And like it. And in terms of how those programs will work, guys, we have a Back in the Game app. All of the details in terms of how you sign up for it and how you download the app will be will be made sort of clear through our initial communication. There will be a specific sort of link for the man walkers. Okay, so it's sort of content that is some content that is dedicated for you guys, and also an opportunity to drop into the wider Back in the Game community as well. Most important thing to remember, we totally understand that people have limited time. We totally understand that lots of people don't have gym memberships. It's very much not about that. It's about finding the time, but we're talking 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just this commitment that if you can find 10, 15 minutes 2 to 3 times a week to complement the walking that you're doing, like as Bernsey said, some mobility, a little bit of strength work, it's really good for keeping our backs and our knees and our hips and our shoulders healthy, and it's just trying to give that sort of longevity. And so some sessions are done in real time, so an opportunity to drop in and actually do the session with me, and other times there's things on the app that you can use. So all you really need is your own body, a bit of space, and most importantly, a little bit of time to take those first steps.
That was awesome. I love that. I can see Benny's marketing brain working. He's already said first cut finished at longevity. If I want to do a longer cut, I've gone all the way. But yeah, that little bit there around walking and adding that and longevity, there was a great 20-second bit in the middle there. I don't know what I'm doing in this space, Benny, but yeah, that was awesome.
That we did talk. This is not really for the recording, but we did talk about Bernsey, didn't we? It's like let's say we had 20 guys who'd actually said, "Yeah, I'll give this a crack." Then I think it would be fun to try to do right for the next three, whatever, and we can agree whenever a sort of Australia friendly live session time. Whereas we say, right, okay, there's going to be a live session with Sammy. It's 7 o'clock in the morning for you guys, or whatever you think is suitable. And then maybe you get 15 guys who go, yeah, I'm here, and it could be a thing. We have a little group who do the kettlebell session on a Saturday morning. Sometimes it's 6 or 7, sometimes it's only 2 or 3, but there's a bit of familiarity there, and it's like in the diary. That's when I'm doing my kettlebell session at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9. So that could be something that we could look at as well going forward. So I think ultimately we're talking about like so there would be practically there would be the man walk slash back in the game 7 day challenge. And then after that, it would be essentially access to the general back in the game thing. But I think if there was something that was Oz friendly, I think that could be and from a time perspective, that could be cool or
For sure.
something to at least try anyway.
Yeah, we'll do that. And I know I said about Huskers wants to place half an hour down the coast there. Then one of the ambassadors down there, he's got an interest in fitness. He was a train driver or something, Rob. But 3 times a week, he takes about 6 or 8 of the blokes, separate to the man, walk through an exercise program. And he sent me some.
Yeah,
He's using milk crates, sticks, milk container full of water. So what the
yeah,
fuck are you doing down there? And he goes, oh, said, fuck that. So I got on, I've got oh, there we go. Actually, maybe we'll get a sponsorship from Morgan Sports. So Morgan Sports is a supplier of, exercise and fitness equipment. Morgan Sports, I'll be calling you guys for a sponsorship, by the way, for this. But we organised to get a small grant, and I've got them some kettlebells and some sandbags and some proper weights and a bench. But he
yeah,
gets great blokes down there, Rob. So what I'll do during that week, I'll go down there and we'll do a live session with you and we'll record it to show, that program. It's yeah, I'm pumped.
yeah, yeah.
I think we're good, guys. I reckon we should. I think we can just get this into the have a look at it, and I'll have a look at it and see what I think in terms of, and then share with you some thoughts on it, and see how we go. And if we need to like jump back on and go, actually, we need to say this, and this, then we can do that and then bring it in.
Yeah, see if you can find some little 20-second grabs.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
copy in Abby, who's our she's third year sort of marketing and comms at Wollongong Uni,
Oh,
major
brilliant.
social media. So she only started yesterday. Lovely, 23-year-old, wonderful young lady. So I'll in on her a bit too. So I'll link her into some emails and so on, and then get some other bits that we need, and then we'll sort of roll out that plan as well. But and then we can work on how we advertise the pricing, and she can help us with some social media tiles and those kind of things as well, and links.
Yeah,
But yeah, good fun. I'll send this Zoom recording through now, and we'll
brilliant.
how handsome we all look, and we'll go
Do
from.
we think, Bench, or do we think, therefore, guys? So what I'm thinking, Burns, is that I will attach. You've got a like you've signed up for the app and stuff, haven't you?
I have previously. I haven't jumped on for a
Yeah.
little while. Where's my phone?
So no, no. So what I've done, I've created. You basically have different pricing plans. That's what they call them. So like I can assign. So like so there'll be a man walk price pricing plan, and I'll attach all the correct content for that. It also means we can charge it in Aussie dollars as well, which is good. But I'll flip your profile into that, and then I'll show you the 7 day, because I think like we talked about, didn't we? So 4 sessions in that first week. 2 are just mobility, and 2 will be mobility and just some simple body weight strength. So I will ping that over to you early next week. And then are we going to try to launch it from the ninth bench? Is that okay? You think
I
it'll
think
work?
what we said at the top of this call is there's no reason why we can't announce it. Let's agree press release, for one better phrase, and probably a LinkedIn post. This is what we're doing, and then, but what we can't obviously to announce it to his group and say this is available. Obviously, it needs to be available. So the product needs to be. So I think, Sammy, for you is like getting that done and then testing it, and then getting to Burns and making sure he's happy with it.
Is that your plan, Burnsy? Like, so once it's done, it's just to get out there and say, boys, this is available, give it a crack, sort of thing.
I reckon it'll be. Well, I guess what we're after is a bunch of people to sign up for the 7 day, try and do that together. But then obviously they can access that 7 day free trial later on as well. But from the launch date, the goal should be to try and get a bunch of people signing up for that 7 days and do it together. And that will include on day 3 or 4 that live stream one with me and one of the groups.
I think that's a good idea. I think sort of longer term, then it will have to be. We're best served it like it will be available, and then when you download the app, the 7 days is there. But if there was an opportunity, and you thought that was feasible, just from a momentum builder, that even if it was like 10 guys who went, yeah, let's do it from this date, that could work really well.
Yeah. No, we'll get that sorted for sure. That's the plan. Okay.
Yeah.
I just resetting my password for the app. I must
As
not.
you say, mate, if one of those sessions was a live, that everyone was doing it together, that could be, yeah. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but it would be a nice feature. That, yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Let's do that, and you jump in. Try and set that day and time of that week after the 9th, UK Australia time, and I'll line that up with the Huskerson group, and we'll get that in the calendar. Yeah, great.
I think a weekend would be best for that, Burnsy, or
Pardon? Probably, but doesn't matter. A lot of them are retired guys. Yeah, you and I can pass that around, but let's try and lock that, or at least bookmark that day and date of that week. Cool. Okay. I'll keep this recording through, guys, and we'll bounce it around. Let's try and do it again one morning, night next week. Let's try to catch up every week.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think if let's get cracking, and then I think from a chatting perspective, if we could speak as close to once a week I think that would be great for us all. Plus, it'd be good fun.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, team. I'll send it through.
All right, cheers, boys. Nice one. Have a good one. Cheers, fellas. Bye.